Hey guys, welcome back to the Scale Nation podcast. In this episode, Zach and I go into some underwriting, so I think it's best if you guys were to actually try watching this in a video format. I mean, you can listen to it, but I think that because we share our screens and show what tools we use, it might be more beneficial for you guys to check it out as well and see if it can help you guys in your underwriting process. So let's get into this podcast. This probably has unpaid rent for the past 4 years. I'm sorry, unpaid taxes for the past 4 years. Their rent is like $608. And then when I looked it up, it probably said it had unpaid taxes for, they bought it in 2022, unpaid for the past 4 years. I'm like, how did they do that? All right, everybody, welcome back to the Scale Nation podcast. I'm your host, Manny, and I'm here with my co-host, Zach. And today we are going to talk about underwriting a couple units. But before we get into that, Zach, let's catch up. It's been a couple of weeks since we've actually seen how we've been progressing. So how's Grace Valley and stuff going?
Right now, right now we're at 75% occupancy.
No, 75%, but you're almost there, dude.
Yeah, so we need 4 more tenants to move in. We have 1 more moving out, so that was we need the 3 to 4.
Dude, that is a win. I remember last you told me you were like at 60 something. So being at 75, that is awesome. Are you getting your draws yet for
moving on really quick now once we get these units done. So yeah, we're 75. We need 4 more people to move in. They're all 1 bedrooms, but we do have a 2-bedroom available that I got to turn and paint and patch. Other than that, we actually had a conversation today with Mitch about looking at the refinance already.
Nice.
We're hoping to get the refinance done by June.
What about unit 45? I remember I was in there, 45 paint. Was it 45? I think it was. Painting 40, and stacking. So you flipped that one?
Where you were
48, that's what it was. Did you flip that one already?
That was rented.
No way. Oh, you should show me the after photos, dude.
No. But here's the thing. It's rented and it's not done yet.
Really?
Okay. So she moves in June 1st. And that's what we're working on to get turned real quick. So it's pre-leased.
Wow. Nice, dude. Nice. What about, I remember you rented out 2 because we were staying in 2. That was the one that you gave out and then 1 as well. So what about the one that you moved all the stuff from 2? I think that was 43.
So we moved all of our stuff out of 2, which was our office or our show unit location.
Mm-hmm.
We moved that over across the street to 19 or across the property to 19. That one needs a little bit more work, but I'm not in a rush to get that fixed.
That's the one with no walls, right? There's one that has no wall.
Oh, no, that's 49. That's 49. 49 is going to be our storage unit. The way we figure it, Mitch and I were talking today, there's no way I'm going to get 49 done just to appease the bank to get the last and final punch out draw. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave that one as storage for parts, materials, and stuff like that. We'll leave 49 vacant, which is, like I said, the one that needs most work. We're going to leave 12 for right now, and then we're going to leave 19 and go from there.
That's really cool to hear, man. I feel a little bit attached to that place because I was there painting and, helping you guys out. So hearing you guys at 75 is amazing.
Yeah, 75 is good. It's good numbers, which is awesome. And the best part about it, even no matter how much occupancy you have, the best part about it is people are paying their rent.
Really? That's the best part. Yeah, if they're paying rent,
right?
That's
if
a
they're
good
occupied, you can be occupied and you can be struggling to get rent revenue.
Yeah.
I do have to play every month game with them. So we were still learning, but every month on the 6th, I go out and post notices to the multiple people who haven't paid yet. But by probably by the middle of the month, by the end of that 10-day notice, they have it all paid and we're just collecting late fees at that point.
Yeah. I mean, also extra income until they learn to stop paying that extra income.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. These guys, you're paying me extra income here. I don't need the extra income. Just pay on time. Do we need to move the date? We could negotiate moving the date if it helps you pay on time.
Yeah, I told people who did that too. They asked me, said, "Hey, I don't get paid until my Social Security doesn't come in until the second Wednesday of the month. Can we put it to then so I don't get hit by late fees?" And I'm like, absolutely.
Exactly.
As long as I know you're going to have a payment date a due date that you're going to make and you're going to pay your rent, I don't care. I don't need the late fee income. It's just more of a hassle for me to chase you.
You should send them, hey guys, I don't want you to pay late fees. Just pay on time. We can negotiate.
Exactly.
Let's talk. I don't want to hit you with late fees. That's not how I want to run my business.
I'd rather them pay on time. I'd rather see them pay on time and not pay late fees and enjoy the property.
You'd be happy. You'd be surprised how many people just don't know that. They feel like, oh, this landlord's always trying to get me with these late fees. It's like, no, man, just talk to me. Let's negotiate. I'm not the evil landlord. I'm human.
No, exactly.
So for me, how it's been going, I've been underwriting a couple properties, trying to find something that works. I do have a quad under contract. We're trying to close here on the 15th.
Nice.
We have to get the commitment by end of this on Friday. Hitting some roadblocks. I had like I mentioned before, I'll mention again, the appraisal guy. So it's funny. The appraisal wants the not even the stairs, the handrails for the stairs to be fixed. It's something that we caught on inspection to get it fixed. And we spoke with the seller about all these things that we need to get fixed based on the inspection, as well as the sewer inspection. We got the sewer line inspection, and the sewer line itself is going to be at least 40 to 50K. And then everything else will be on top of that. But the seller says, hey, we'll give you 40 to 50K credit for a sewer if you cover all the other things to fix. Because we had an occupancy report. They get smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, door handle needs to be replaced, all the regular stuff. And I was like, that makes sense. We'll work together. I'll fix all the small stuff as long as you pay for that sewer fix, right?
That's what you cap at.
Yeah, exactly. And then
therefore
the lender was good. This is DSCR loan. The lender was okay with that as well. And then all we needed to get was their appraisal and then replacement cost insurance. So I'm working to get the insurance with Nathan, and the appraiser was like, yeah, we can't give you the appraisal until you get those handrails on the stairs done. And I went, and then they're like, I had to pay $750 for them to go out the first time. And then now they're asking me $260 to go out for a second time to inspect the handrails. And I was like, look, the seller is not going to fix the handrails because we already agreed that he give me the credit to fix everything else after closing. And they're like, no, we won't give you the appraisal, which means you can't close until you fix the handrails. So back and forth with the appraiser and my lender. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. They're holding me back because their own biases is here. So then it turned out,
exactly.
Okay.
Like I mentioned earlier, I've never seen an appraiser demand his own way that the lender doesn't want it. Like the lender doesn't care. There's no reason for the appraiser to demand his own way.
Exactly.
I can actually understand that when this is like an FHA loan or USDA, that the appraiser goes out and finds some things that don't qualify under those loan parameters, that the bank then says you need these fixed and then sends the appraiser back out again. I've seen that over and over again, but never with a DSCR. Never when the bank says, I don't care about what damages are. I want to see the appraisal. And I've never seen an appraiser, again, demand his own way, based on his own prejudice.
It's crazy. I don't understand what's going on. So they just finished paying for the second time viewing. It said, don't go out there until we tell you when to go out there, because I don't want you to say you went out there and we're still fixing it and you have to come back later and charge me again. So now I'm just dealing with that, and hopefully I get everything done this week. And it's always the last week, right?
Yeah.
It's always the last week. Why couldn't we do this like a long time ago? So it's always the last week before we gotta get everything done. First. Yeah. And then now we'll have the commitment on the 8th, and then I'll be back up there on the 15th to sign the paperwork, or hopefully nothing gets pushed out and everything works as expected.
That's always the hope, right? Always the hope.
That's always the hope. That is always the hope. But I'm excited. I'm happy.
Awesome.
But since we're here and I'm going to close on this deal, I need to look at something else, right? So today, let's underwrite a couple properties. We'll start with the small ones. I've been looking at small multifamilies the most, and I think you've been looking at the big boys. So I'll be there one day, but right now I gotta, buy, like we say, buy in your market. So let me see here if I can share my screen. Looks like I can. Awesome. I'm gonna share my entire screen. So first, before I'm going to show you guys a couple of the quick ways that I use for appraising. Usually when not appraising, but underwriting. Usually when I'm underwriting property, I don't spend a lot of work until I get my offer accepted. I think you're the same way, Zach. Like you'll do a quick underwriting and just enough to give an offer. And after that, you'll be like, okay, once the offer is accepted, then you do your due diligence.
Right, exactly. To my deep dive. I can underwrite a whole bunch of properties in an hour, send out LOIs, And then if I get one accepted or one that seems like they have an interest, I'll do a deep dive on the underwriting. And if they want to negotiate, depends on my underwriting on the deep dive.
Yes, exactly. So as you can see here, this is a 5-3 property. This is a duplex. So this one has a 3-2 and I think a 1-1 if I remember correctly. Let me see.
Okay.
A 3-2, 3 bedrooms.
To be honest, I think I looked at this one.
Oh, sorry. Can you say that again?
I think I looked at this one.
Really? Yeah. So this was not that bad, right? It's in Crafton, which is next to the other unit that I'm purchasing. The reason why I like this one is because it's next to the other one and I don't have to go that far. The only downside, 3-2 and 2-1, which is perfect. Rent range from $295 and $1,500. So a good rule of thumb when I'm underwriting is to confirm these rents. And just like everyone is doing these days, I used AI because AI, it makes it super easy. So let's go here. And let me just make a temporary chat here. And I'm going to say, I like to do 3 things when I'm using AI. I give it a role, which is you are an investor. And then I also say, give it context, purchasing, property, and I'm going to give it the zip code. I think the zip code's 15202. Yeah. 15205. And then I'm going to say here, and here's your mission. You need to compare rents for a 3-2 and 2-1. Current property you are looking at is a 2-1. I think it was 945. And 3-2 was, let's see, 1,500, which seems kind of high, but maybe it's good for that area. 1,500. So I do this just to get the actuals, and I'll show you another tool that I use to actually put everything together here. Now, I know I do have a spreadsheet, and I like using spreadsheets, but sometimes spreadsheets are a lot of doing your own work. So I like using it. I like using these tools to do all the calculations and stuff for me, and I just mess around with it. So for example, here's another application that I use while this is running. It's called DealCheck. This one's free. I think it gives you up to 10 properties for free that you can underwrite using this tool. And here it is actually right here. So in here, I go to the purchase worksheet and they're asking 233 for this. I put the purchase in as this much. They're asking 23200. I put here the purchase of 220 because I get 10K discount, and after repairs 221, just for me to be conservative. I think it might be more than this. This is a turnkey property, so I'm not trying to make it, do it crazy. So I have my financing here is at 70%. So I put 75 to 25% down, which is the normal 30-year loan. The interest rate 6.8, and did ChatGPT get back the numbers here? As an investor, both rents are conservative. So this is good. If you're looking clean, functional, separate major, perfect. So this property does meet those requirements. And these numbers right here, the saying is pretty conservative and fair. This is low and this is on the lower end. So I'm just going to, for my initial underwriting, it's okay to use these 2 numbers for the underwriting. I'm pretty sure after you rent it, if you can flip, if there's current people in there, you're probably going to be paying this for until that lease ends, unless they're month to month. And then when you get them out, you can clean the unit up a little bit, new coat of paint, you can raise the rents a little bit to these investor targets that they're showing you here, which is actually quite nice. Oh, let me go back to this tool here. So the purchase cost, usually 3% is fine. From my experience so far, 3 to 5% is total. So this is actually aggressive. And here I edit the rent roll. And as you can see, I actually used it for the 2-1, it's 945. And for the 3-2, it's 1,500. For the total rent per month is, as you see, 2,400, which beats the 1% rule. If any guys doesn't know, the property needs to be 1% of what you're buying for it. And I do like that. So my expenses, as you can see, I do 5% for maintenance, 5% for capital expenditure. To me, I treat this as repair and maintenance. So this is my repair, this is my maintenance, and the total is 10%. And we have our property management. The average is 10% for property management. Unless you manage it yourself, you will save that 10%. I know because I've done my research and I've spoken to insurance adjusters in that area. Nathan, for example, that Zach gave me contact with, he gave me a quote for around 2,200. I added an extra 400 for the property I'm looking at, but this one's a little bit smaller. So I'm pretty sure I'm putting it about the same. And this is something that I actually looked into myself. This property, and I don't know if it's common for you, Zach, this property has unpaid rent for the past 4 years. I'm sorry, unpaid taxes for the past 4 years. Their rent is like 608. And then when I looked it up, this property said it had unpaid taxes they bought it in 2022, unpaid for the past 4 years. I'm like, how do they do that?
Yep. So in that aspect, okay, so to be absolutely honest, when you're going through the closing, you need to make sure that on the HUD, that unpaid taxes are coming out of their side of the HUD.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Okay. You could do that. I thought we had something that we had to negotiate, but if I can make them pay that. Purchase unpaid on their side of the HUD. So is it possible that they're probably doing it in total? Because if I remember correctly, this is part of another portfolio and they're probably paying taxes on the entire portfolio, but not for this property. Is that also something that could be something that's going on?
Taxes are individual per property. So if this one doesn't have unpaid taxes, I mean, based on that information, based on you're taking an assumption from being the owners did this property, I would assume he would be doing it to the other property as well.
Yeah. I can check the other one. I have the address for that one. So yeah, I also added $200 in utilities because I don't really know until I actually get it from the seller how much utilities are paying. $200 a month is probably kind of in the middle range of conservative and aggressive. Usually if you're paying over $200, I feel like that's some toilets that you need to get changed and to train the tenants not to use so much water and electrical, right? So landscaping, I haven't added anything to that as yet. It's under my $200 fee, and usually it depends on the property. This property doesn't look like it needs a lot of landscaping because it doesn't have a lot of grass and legal fees, etc. Unless you're planning to do evictions, I usually leave that to zero. Those are the things that you can't really plan for. So the reason why I like this deal, the deal check, if you can go to the property analyzer here, and it gives you a breakdown of how much cash you'll need based on the down payment, which is $55 plus, purchasing fees, and there's a $0 rehab cost because I haven't had any rehab. And as you can see here, this is not, I don't think you would purchase it for this much, Zach, because you like to have $100 per $100 per unit per cash flow. This is $150. This is something that I wouldn't mind buying because I'm a beginner, and if I can get it at this price, I feel like, that's fine. And $50K down payment is pretty good. Yeah, I plan on raising rents later.
I would prefer $200 a month in cash flow after expenses because of the $100 per door rule.
Yeah. So here you can see they give you the breakdown. As you can see, 45% of income is your expenses. I have 8% vacancy, but we'll be starting at 0 if there's people in there currently. So this will actually go down if I can actually manage it better myself. 8% for the whole year for a small multifamily, my experience is that you're doing something wrong. You need to make sure that you're actually on top of your occupancy here. And then we have our cash flow, which is, you can see $77 per door, per unit. And our return on investment is negative right now because for the first year, you can actually go for the entire year. If the first year is going to be negative, we're able to hold it for a couple of years. You're going to see your return on investments start going up based on how long you hold it. So actually see in year 3, I think this is year 5 actually. That's year 3, your return on investment is already at 20% because the value of the property went up from where you're purchasing it. And this is assuming you're purchasing it exactly at offer, and I'm thinking exactly at the ARV, which I think is actually pretty low for the ARV for this property. But yeah, this is the tool I use. I wanted to ask you some questions, and not for this property particularly, but for another one. So let me actually show you the underwriting for that one. And this is the one I'm gonna have the most questions for you about.
Absolutely.
It's going to be back on here, my favorites. And this is it. So this one is 220. It's also a duplex. Mount Washington, a nice area, very nice area. I've been there. I like it. I do have it here. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. These show you the limitations of your tools. This tool is really good for, I'm pretty sure I could have done it better. I probably just don't know how to use this as well. But this property, Boggs Avenue, needs some work. So let me show you here. This is, I think, unit 1. As you see, unit 1 looks pretty good, probably rent ready. If you probably take out the carpet, whatever, and then change some stuff. But unit 2, which I'm seeing here, maybe, as you can see, the wall broken here. I think you can see this is the inside of the wall. What's that called inside the wall? I forget what's called inside the wall to keep the house cool. What's this called?
The venting?
The insulation? Or the insulation. Insulation, yes. So you can see the insulation, yeah. And then you can see there's some damage to the wall here, and I think there's a random sink here for some reason. I don't even know if this is the bathroom. I don't know what this is, right? There's just a bunch of stuff in this property. So this property probably needs at least, in my opinion, $33K in repair. Just to repair all those things that look damaged, like this carpet, probably just rip this out, and I don't even know what this is, and get rid of this update. I don't even know what this is. This looks pretty okay, but overall, it looks like a good. Yeah, it looks like a good standing property. Just need some questions of how we would run the underwriting for this. 220K.
You said this was also a duplex, right?
This is also a duplex, yeah. This is 2-1 and a 2-1 and a 2-2, which is better. My wife likes the 2 properties because she says you get longer tenants. So I like this one, but I've never had the experience for rehab. So after the first year, not even the first year, first few months, you'd work on, both units are vacant. So we need to check to see what's going on. They say that they fixed the furnace, they fixed the AC, and they fixed the rear patio and it has a fenced yard, but they didn't do anything to the roof is what I'm worried about. And then other aspects of this property. So how would you underwrite this? So if you look at my tool here, I have the same, I think 25% purchase, which is the 55K. And then I have 33K in repair. So I need about 100K down to close. And I'm thinking my wife put 10% vacancy in the first year because of we're going to do the rehab. So do you think it would cost, based on the images that you're just seeing there, do you think it would cost 33K in repairs?
First of all, I'd say extend your vacancy. Expect them to have between 3 and 6 months of the whole property being vacant.
3 and 6 months, really? 3 to 6 months of vacancy. Okay.
Why is that? You're going to fly up here. Unless you're going to fly up here after you close on the property and start doing the work yourself, you got to wait for the contractors to be available to do the work. And we're getting into the summer busy season.
That is also true. Summer busy season for everyone. Dang. I mean, you'll probably fly up there and do some of the easy work, like painting the walls and ripping up some carpet. I can destroy stuff pretty good.
I don't see why you wouldn't. I expect you to do something, but being far away, you would need somebody doing the physical work there. So you need to allow that timeline. And they don't always work to your timeline either.
Okay. And what else would you recommend?
I did a flip with a timeline. I did a flip with a 3-month timeline, and it's taken 5. So.
Wow.
Always prepare for more.
So based on these images, what else do you think that are a good thing to look out of?
Yeah, let me look here.
I can send you the link so you can look on it.
I already pulled it up.
Awesome.
I already have it up on my MLS.
Awesome. So you probably see more details than I do.
I do. Speaking of that, I sent you the sheets for the domestic properties that you're looking at.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't like the wall with the double doors.
There's a wall with double doors?
Yeah. Let's scroll through.
Let me see here.
Right this there. One? That one right there. This here, right here. Unless it's been patched and painted a few times, unless someone put holes in the walls themselves, that's telling me that there's possible water damage.
On this wall right here?
Yep.
Interesting.
And if you look here too, this looks like it's been patched and painted before as well. You have the texture that's been applied to the ceiling. This is different.
Interesting.
You can look at that stuff too. So that's definitely a sign of water damage.
Like this right here. There's a ceiling right here that looks like it has some water damage onto it. So that's what I was wondering about the roof. So I'm thinking the roof might need to be changed as well. But if I can get some credit on this for the roof and everything else for 220, when I was doing the underwriting, the property ARV, let's say it only hits the 1% rule. Right now it can probably rent with an average at $2,700 a month. So there's at least, if we can get some credit, 70, let's say we get it for 200, you get 70K of ARV on this. After you use 50K to purchase on 20% down with a bridge loan, you make at least 20K on this, 20, 30K or 25, depending on how good you are. It's just ARV I'm thinking here.
Yeah, but again, always assume higher than your estimated costs. You may need a roof, so expect between 5 and 10 for the roof.
I was budgeting 20 for the roof because there's multiple levels. What about and the windows look fine? The windows look fine.
Yeah, windows look all right. They might be older, but they're vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely older. You can see the bathroom has wallpaper rather than wallpaper everywhere, including the ceiling.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. This is interesting. This one has like I think this is a kitchen because the roof doesn't go all the way to the top here. You see this?
Yeah, the
wall
wall
doesn't go
itself
to the top.
doesn't go all the way to the top. I would assume in my underwriting, that a lot of this board, a lot of this, the wall board that you can see the cracks on the tape and the paint, that all should come out and get drywall.
Okay. So maybe it's more than just the $33K that I was expecting.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dang.
And you could reglaze that tub to make it look better. Get rid of those colors, just reglaze it. That would be a cheaper way to go. Yes.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. If it's like $100K, this deal doesn't make as much sense anymore. It's a very nice area though. Mount Washington, from what I hear, is desirable.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's why he's hoping to get 200 something for it, right?
Yeah. But I don't think so. This is nice. This is the basement right here. I think the basement looks like there's a unit in the basement. There's also a bathroom down here.
There's your Pittsburgh toilet. That's for sure. Yeah, I would assume that a lot of this wall board will need to get pulled off and drywalled. Not 100% certain on the quality of the insulation, especially if there's water damage in the ceiling. You may have to re-insulate some of that.
Yeah, so that's already raised up my budgeting to 75K up to 75K to 100K.
Little tangent here real quick. If you want to go back to that picture you showed me with the wall doesn't reach the ceiling.
Yeah. Is it one? I guess I show it the other way. I'm going all through them again. Oh, there it is.
That one. Yep.
Here's the other side. This is the other side.
That is the other side. Yeah. Yep. But I'm curious about this little stain right there by the window. You go by the window.
This?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
that makes me ask questions.
What happened there?
Huh?
Let's leave those questions to be asked. I don't want to know, bro.
Google the address, find a police report.
No, man. No. Let's just leave it alone, bro.
Disclaimer on your description: apartment haunted, special tenant required.
Exactly. Oh man. But yeah, guys, this is usually what I do for my quick underwriting. As you can see, I just underwrote 2 units and a couple like under 30 minutes here, and sometimes you see things. I didn't notice that until you pointed it out, bro. I should I would have been happy. I gotta go and ask. But it's
when you stare at all these pictures over and over again, you notice different things. But
that's true.
It's more fun to walk the units. It really is.
Yeah, I plan to see if I can see if the seller's actually willing to negotiate and talk, and we'll work together on this. Then I'll walk it while I'm up there. But this is one I like. This one because this one doesn't require us to get both units like the other one that you just sent me. The other one requires both Paul Street and what was the other one?
Yeah. For whatever reason, that seller's selling him as a portfolio. And then ultimately, I'd go in with, okay, you want me to buy a portfolio? You better make a good deal because one works, one doesn't. So let's make sure it works.
Then make sure it works. Yeah, I'd probably do that. I'm pretty sure I could raise the funds for it and get them both working. The reason why I like this one though is because I can get my investor funds back quicker, especially if I can get this to work, fix it. It's on Mount Washington, get the ARV up. And then
but just like I said, just make sure you put that contingency in there for additional. BS behind the wall that you can't see, right?
Exactly.
Why is there a sink there? What's going on? When you turn the water on to the place, is there pipes?
I think that might be a kitchen, bro. I think that's a kitchen for another unit. Because the wall not going up and then there's sink just being there randomly, it's got to be another kitchen. Because when I look at this, I only see one full kitchen, which is this one, right? And then I don't see another full kitchen for the other unit.
Well, that's the thing. You do have a kitchen sink with that yellow countertop with the brown cabinets right there.
Oh yeah, what is this?
Yeah, so take a look there.
Yeah, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's interesting. Maybe this is the laundry room. I don't know. Who knows? Or maybe the other one's the laundry room. Who knows?
It's definitely the third floor. If you look at
this looks like it's the third floor because I can see the roof.
Floor, yeah.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting to see what's going on here. And then look now. You see, I looked at the photo again. There's the thing on the wall, and there's this little dude standing here. Why'd you do this, bro?
Keep looking. You'll find more things.
Dang, man. Well, okay. So yeah, this is how I usually underwrite my deals, and especially I use this tool, DealCheck. There's a lot of deal underwriting things out there. Don't try to spend money on things you don't have to. I'm pretty sure if you look up on Google or even ask like ChatGPT to give you like a analyzer, you can find a bunch of stuff that can analyze the property and help you.
I've done that many times. I've written in the ChatGPT and I've had a full conversation with it about a single property address and with all the details. Definitely telling it to you're an investor, you're an experienced investor focusing on small multifamily or large multifamily, and give it all the details. I even had to do underwriting for an Airbnb. Look at the market in this area as an Airbnb, and this is what we have. This is what we're going. It'll fit this many people. Give me the parameters for that. So you can do that. I would say use multiple different sources. If you don't just rely 100% on ChatGPT or any AI.
Yeah, don't rely on any of these AI. Actually, make sure you do your own due diligence. Make sure you do your own backup, and then if you got your resources out there, talk to other operators about what you're doing as well. Don't try going in blind. I leverage Zach. I leverage my mastermind because sometimes you think like, exactly, I thought it was 33K, but now Zach is like, nah, man, from what I'm seeing, probably a little bit more higher than that. So go in with a high number, and then if it's lower, you're happy. If it's not, then
that's even better. Yeah. If you can go in at a high and save money, that's great.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that outlook. These are the two small multifamilies that I did underwriting, and I'll give it up to you, Zach, so you can show me how you do your big boys, the big underwritings. So
I only have one for us today.
Okay.
But let's take a look.
You should have access to share, right? Perfect.
All right. This is an 18 unit. Two buildings.
I've seen this one in Brentwood, right? Yeah, I've seen this one. Oh, but you're working with, is that Paul? You're working with, is this his name?
This is David.
Alchemist Multifamily. He's really,
I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put this out right out there. I'm not buying this. I pulled an OM from Bexy. I did an underwriting on it. And I know I'm not buying it because it's from Allegheny Multifamily. I've never had one of his deals that come anywhere near close to what I would pay for it. So
Right.
And he is such very hard line that what he puts his price at is pretty much what he's going to try to sell it at. And there's no negotiating with him.
Well, I like the area. Brentwood's a really nice area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it would price right, it's a great property. So it's a mix of twos and ones. And that's a lot of what you find in Pittsburgh and multifamily. You find a lot of twos, ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially the older properties, the older buildings, they're going to be 2-1s. Some of the new ones are great that you can see 3s, you can see 4s, but
okay. I've seen it's a portfolio because I just saw multiple buildings there.
Yes. Yep. 3. Let's see. I believe this. He said there's only 2 buildings in his underwriting. He says there's 2 buildings.
Okay.
Well, we have
this
3
one and the other one.
We have 16, 18, and 20.
Interesting. Very interesting.
2 parcels.
How many units? Also about 18 units in total?
18 in total. Yeah, 18 units.
I like the Scatton Avenue property more than the Lanchman.
Yeah, it looks better. It does. And then this is actually a 4 unit if you look at it.
Yeah, interesting. Are those garages under there?
Yep, garages. Yeah.
For 4 units, that's a lot of garages.
Right?
Maybe it's only 4 units of that property. Maybe you might be owning only a little bit of it, and
possibly units 1 through 4. It could be.
And then the other ones belong to other people. So I would probably start selling those 4 units right away.
If they're parcels separately, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got 14 units in these 2 in this building. But yeah, so we've got. It looks like to be some updated, some not. Some have newer features, some don't.
Nice.
It's going to make your rents variable, right?
Right.
We got our rent rolls, did a little drawing here. But our occupied rents and our average rent right now is $795. He's saying market rent is going to be a little bit, going to be $1,000. That's almost a 30% jump from what they're listed, what they're currently renting at to what he's saying that they could be listed, rented at. And I always question, for whatever reason, his properties are always 100% occupied.
Hey,
he never has any vacancies.
Man,
so I always question,
how to pick him.
He's very kind to all of the people looking at his properties. He actually does an underwriting and income expense for us.
That's nice. Yeah.
Except it's definitely skewed towards his price and selling it for what it's listed at. As you can see, he's listed it at an annual income at market rents.
Okay.
Right, so he's looking at a loss to lease. Okay, so now he's saying, we got 23% vacancy, I would assume.
Yeah, loss to lease. Yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty big, but income is 114%. So
yeah, so yeah, how do you get 114% of income?
Yeah.
Either way, total rental income 174, expenses. He's got some garage income, parking income. It's total rent. So gross operating, these ain't expenses. So you look at this, basically really look at this, these checks here, because again, I can see some of these actually being lower here, but I can definitely see repairs and maintenance being higher. It's an older building. It's gonna break down.
Yeah, I always do 10%.
Yeah, it's gonna right. He's expecting the buyers to spend $250 per unit per year.
That's
in maintenance and repairs. That's not possible. It really isn't. Your legal and accounting, especially if you're not in the area, your administrative costs, it's going to be higher. It really is. And management, $10,000, it's going to be higher. The 10%. Reason I know that because he told us on the next page down below, he tells us how much. And then he's saying a $3,600 reserve. I would go higher. I would go $5,000 reserve.
Right.
Really?
Well, usually it's $1,000 per unit, right? So depending on, $1,000 per unit is what I usually do for reserve.
So I keep a 5,000 reserve with management, especially on Grace, and then once we refinance and once we're cash flow, we're keeping a reserve about $20K in the account, just in case.
Just in case, yeah.
And that's always just in case. So first of all, I can see a couple of these being a little lower. Water, sewer, gas. Why, water, sewer, unless all utilities are included, why is it that's so high, right? And then these will be higher. And tells us, okay, so taxes based on common level ratio. Why didn't he pull the tax card?
You can pull the tax card.
It's a red flag.
So I knew that other property had unpaid taxes for a couple months.
Yeah.
No, for a couple of years, actually.
So the actual 25 insurance, electric, water, and gas expenses. He estimates $250 per unit per year. Actual traffic expense. Agent estimates legal, agent estimates admin fees, and with a 6% management fee. But you just said average for Pittsburgh is 10%, and that's exactly what it is.
Unless you're paying yourself for managing it, then I understand you're paying yourself lower.
Right. But, right. Then you look at exactly. So how well can you see these numbers over here? I can see it pretty good. But if you want to make it bigger, you can. But they're pretty good for right now. Or I go through the property and minimize this one and zoom in here. Perfect. All right. So first of all, what I did is I threw those rent rolls right into the calculator here. The current rent rolls, not the market rents that he expects it to have. Based on his expected 6% cap rate at about 100, this is his 1.425 is what he's listed at. Okay. All right. So we're looking at about a 5% closing cost of $70,000, down payment 25%, because you're not going to get an 80% lender for long-term loans. Okay. Unless you're very good relationship with a lender. The majority of the time I get 80% on bridge and 75% on long-term. Long-term, yeah. Yep. So we're talking about almost a $350,000 down payment. So you're coming with about $430,000 to close the property. Wow. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, what we're looking at is phase one on this calculator. And right now it doesn't work at all, just based on his current prices. All right. So you would have to have, in order to be in the green, you're going to have a cap rate with an offer price. The high offer, this is the highest I would ever go on this with this structure, with me bringing in the closing and down payment, would be 1.225. Right. So, okay. But 1.225. Yeah. But that's bringing in my own money, $367,000 to close the property. Yeah. But as you know, that's not how I purchase properties, right? I always get investors to come in alongside me, which means I need to be able to pull cash out. Oh, wow. You can't pull anything out. I can't pull anything out of that. So we have a negative rate of return. We have 4% cash on cash return. We do have a positive, an over 1% in the DSCR rate.
DSCR, yeah.
But ultimately, we're saying an ARV of 945,000, and that's based on a 10% increase in rent from the 795, which is currently rent with the current rent, and 10% increase is 875. So where he's going to get $1,000 a month on average per rent,
I have no idea.
Because if you are occupied that way, you have to honor those leases, and in order to do, get your $1,000, you drop a tenant and you release. But
right,
how quickly is that going to happen? So being conservative on this end, definitely looking at only a 10% increase in rents. All right. So this deal would not work for me at all based on even this price. Now, I've always said I always buy 10% or higher cap rate, right?
Even that 10% still
even that deal doesn't work. Yeah, because we're still running 50% occupancy. 50% expenses, 100% occupancy. I mean, I doubt that's going to be the case, but I still can't pull my investors' money out, and that keeps getting lower. So our purchase price now is $850.
Dang,
this looks better right down here.
First month looks, but then the
first phase looks great.
Better.
And the reason being is because I don't have that second position put in there right now. I pay my investors 12%. Look what I just did to that.
Oh yeah, just killed it. Wow. Yeah.
So in order to make this work, 14 cap, because even a 13 doesn't work.
13 doesn't work.
14 cap. This structure right here pulls the money out of the property after stabilization and pays back the first position and pays back my investors and puts $28K in my pocket. And that's not really a large payday for me if we're talking, and then once I refinance, look at that. I'm not even getting my $100 per door.
Question. What if you were to sell those 4 units, those 4 small ones?
That would be just on top, the money on top, right? So
you would still have to do all this, though. You would still
correct.
have to
I would want to sell them level. Stabilized. If they're not stabilized,
you have to stabilize them.
Right. Yeah. So,
you're not even adding anything for capital expenditures.
Exactly. And if I did, it'd still be in the red.
Dang.
Yeah. If I assume $5,000 a unit.
$5,000 a unit, and it kills it.
It kills it.
Yeah. That doesn't look good.
So this is not a deal that I would even real quick throw it in the calculator, see all that red, and say, no, I'm done. But
and usually you just do it at. So if it doesn't work at 10%, you don't even waste your time from there, or do you say, oh, maybe I can get it for 14? Because it's like more than half of what he's asking.
Yeah.
You're asking like a 50% discount here.
Right. And that's
more than 50%. Yeah.
That is, I guess. And that's just how I purchase. So I'm not going to get the deals out there that I don't want to put my money in there, and I don't want to keep my money in the property. Even if I'm putting my own money in the property, I want that payout. I want to refinance, and I want to put that money back in my pocket. And if the deal doesn't make sense that way, I'm not going to be doing the deal.
I agree with you there.
There's no reason for me to leave there's no reason for me to leave even $183,000 into a deal. But even at his expected, price, there's no reason for me to leave $430,000 in a deal. It makes no sense to do that on a return. Yeah.
On a negative when you're paying some money every month.
Exactly. So it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, think of that cash on cash return. 4%. I don't want that. Annual rate of return, a negative. It doesn't make logical sense for me to put my money into a deal and never get it back out until I sell the property.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So, but basically that's basically how I run everything. I'll put it in there under his terms. I'll see what we're looking at, and I'll go, this is my price, and I'll wrap an LOI and I'll send that to him, and I can guarantee you I will not get an answer.
But still do it, right? It's like, you see what happens, what people say. And then these tools that we're getting, this one is from Alchemist Nation, right? This is the golf.
Yeah, this is the Alchemist Nation calculator. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Alchemist Nation calculator, and I like it. I like this one a lot. Actually, I think you can also use this for smaller units, correct?
Yeah, anything multifamily. Absolutely.
Anything multifamily, yeah. So I'm probably going to run ours to this one as well, just to see what we get.
There you go. You kind of have to adapt a little bit too, just based on, you have obviously 2 units, you put your 2 and all that, but, and adapt, because if you're not going to refinance and get your money back out, you only want to look at down here.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to do the refinance I'm going to try using that one on Boggs to see what I get, because that one gives me the refinance to get the money out, and then the calculation how much it'll be, if it's even worth it, right? To purchase at that price.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it breaks everything
down.
Is
very cool.
Yeah, I just throw my numbers in there and look at, does it work? Does it not work? I would have to, let's see what we would have to do. Raise rents 20%? Oh, 30%. And I'm still not even at $100 per door. But yet I have over $1,000 average rent.
And that's 30% once. You can only do that once. I think you got to find someone who's willing to pay that much. And then to do 30%, you need to compete with the people around you, and they're offering you like nice new changes that you're not doing any capex here. You're just fixing up what you can, and
yeah, exactly.
Man,
basically fixing things up as I go based on the 50%
cash flow.
Right.
Yeah, I guess based on the cash flow that you're getting now, and then just trying to fix it up. So you're probably holding for at least a year at 12. That's insane, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this definitely isn't one that I would look at even purchasing, except unless he wants to come over and say, yeah, I'll take $600,000, but
yeah, he's never been that. He's laughed at me.
But basically, he promised the owner that he's going to get him 1.4. So,
and then that's why the owner is like, "Yeah, let's do it." If you promise me 1.4, and I'm looking at my numbers, it's like, let's see how you do it, bro.
Yep, exactly. But as you can see, even on his underwriting, you can make a look at this, and he outright says, okay, he's assuming that you're going to put a down payment of 20%, which means you're getting a loan.
Interest rate at 6? Where's he getting that? No, we need to talk.
Right? Exactly. What? First of all, what lender does he know that gives you 6% right now on multifamily?
6% right now? I don't see that anywhere.
And what lender does he know that has long-term financing for 80% LTV?
That's also true. I'm pretty sure he's thinking, no, that's insane. His cash is negative. That says negative, right?
Cash flow is negative.
And his total returns in the box?
Total return. He always does this. Principal pay down, like it's an actual return that you're going to see. What you see is negative. What you see is your $14,000 coming out of your pocket. You don't see $6,000 until you sell.
This
true. This is not a perk for any investor. Believe me, this is not something that you want to base your investing strategy on. The principal pay down. This is a bonus, right? This is what they call it bonus appreciation or depreciation, and principal pay. Like, this is all bonus. This is all stuff that you don't want to expect or even think about when you're investing, because it's not right now. You're gonna get that depreciation. You're going to get the appreciation.
Right.
But what's going to help you run your business, run your properties, is your cash flow. And if you're draining money, $14,000 a year, that's not running your business.
I agree. I don't know I don't know if any investor would see negative and be excited to purchase. So this is with rents at market.
This is with market rents. So he tried again with market rents. Okay, $25,000 in cash flow. Okay.
But how? If you need to put in a lot of money into it, and he didn't calculate any of the money he had to put into it.
Right. And if you do real quick, you do a real quick calculation here. So let's say $26,000 per year. That's $2,000 a month in your pocket off of an 18-unit property that, in all reality, really should be performing better than that. And 25 is not a bad number. I would like better numbers, but again, you can't have $25,000 when you're looking at a 6% rate on the underwriting and 20% down payment, because that's going to change. That's going to go lower.
Interesting.
So
the cost per unit is kind of nice. But
cost per unit $79,000, based on his stabilized net operating income.
Based on his stabilized, okay, very interesting.
Yeah, well, based on what it is now, yeah. So 1.4. I might want this down at like $50,000 a unit.
50. That makes more sense, because you need to add at least $10,000 a unit, probably in rehab.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
So yeah, that's basically how I look at a property. I'll look at an OM and I'll enter in my rent rolls, and if it comes out red, comes out green, yes or no. That's all it is. A clear yes or no. And it goes into it's do I put in an LOI for this price? Yes or no. Change a cap rate, bring a higher cap rate, lower your price. Do I submit this price? Yes or no. Make sure you always submit where you have some wiggle room to negotiate.
Exactly. And then even at 600,000, I don't think he's going to reply to you. But it's good to make him, realistic here. This is the realistic numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would be the thing. And again, this doesn't work for me because of how I structure my deals with my investors. It might work for somebody who wants to put $500,000 a property and let it sit until he wants to sell it.
No, I don't think, especially in this economy, I don't think anyone wants to do. You can get treasury bonds and make at least something back.
His cash 5%. We can put that all on a CD and get 5%, right?
Exactly. $500,000. That's a lot, guys.
So
you can purchase a couple singles in Florida and then know that at least if you're banking on like the same rate here, right? You purchase a couple units in Florida for $500,000. Let's say you put $1,000 down on a couple units. You could probably get like maybe 5, and then it's Florida, so the appreciation is going to go up. You flip that in 2-3 years and get all your money back and more. And then it's still the same. You're basically breaking even, but it's Florida. Everyone's coming down here, and for sure that people are going to buy the property.
Yeah.
Especially if you do like single family, right? I'm talking about single family. Purchase 5 single family homes in Florida, 500,000, and just flip those in a couple of years. And then for sure someone's going to buy it because Florida, we need houses.
Working your butt off to renovate and rent 18 units
in Pittsburgh. Yeah, man. Yeah. The only thing you got to worry about. But yeah,
real quick underwriting on the multifamily as I do. And that, again, that's just a yes or no. Do I submit? Once I accept, then I'm in there all the time, changing my numbers, looking at every scenario, looking at all the options. Because I not only want to look at the stabilization phase, I want to look at what's going to be after I stabilize too.
Yeah. But these tools that we use is very important. And again, you got to make sure that you're buying within your means. See, I'm looking at the singles because I could offer singles. I can get investors to help me with the singles. Zach's a little bit more experience. He already did the singles game. So he can do multifamily. He's got backers from the multifamilies, the large ones. But yeah, you gave me a lot to think of. I'm actually going to run that through the tool now, the small one, to see if I can actually do the refinance like you mentioned and see if it actually works. And I do think, you actually sent it to me. Can you send me the MLS one for Boggs as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is actually really helpful. But overall, it's great.
I wonder, did I save that one?
Yeah. So whenever we're doing underwriting, I always recommend that you do exactly what we do here. Find someone that you can actually underwrite with, if they have the time, because you can shoot, ideas back and forth, discuss. And the reason why I leverage Zach a lot is because he has a lot of experience in construction and fixing. Whenever I see something that might need repairs, Zach knows. He knows, man.
Look at all that, right? Look at those pictures.
Yeah, look at those pictures. I remember it was the same one with another one I was underwriting. I just had an insurance guy look at the roof, and he's like, "Sorry, bro, I can't insure that roof for you." And I'd say, well, that kills the deal. So I got to get that roof fixed, and the seller doesn't want to fix it. He doesn't want to give me credit for it.
Right. Yeah. You got to take a look at all this stuff. I mean, if you're not experienced in that kind of stuff, too, make a friend or even just hire a couple of contractors. Say, hey, I need an estimate this time, this place, and bring 3 or 4 of them. Have them all walk the property with you because they're all going to give you different
prices,
different things they're going to see. They each have different focuses. But absolutely. And then you look at them and be like, hey, I could hire all you to do the unit to fix it up because you each obviously gave me different, opinions, different insights.
Specialty. Yeah. But it's good. Well, we can end it here, actually. Thank you, everyone, for coming here and listening to us underwrite these deals. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I know we're just, going over just the day-to-day of how we underwrite deals, but you need to make sure that we over the past couple of weeks, we've spoken about, finding your market, how rental strategies to picking market strategies from small and big multifamily. And now we just talked about underwriting the deals, and we also give you one for underwriting for the small ones. I give you a bunch of like local ChatGPT, DealCheck. These are things that anyone can have access to. But for the big properties of large multifamily, you actually need like a spreadsheet. I can see if I can get GA's approval to give you his spreadsheet, but it's kind of proprietary and I don't want to get in trouble. So let me talk to him and see if I can get the okay. And if not, you guys can actually send us the email at scalenation@gmail.com. And if I probably just send it to you directly. that way. But hey, thank you. Feel free to leave a comment and talk, and we'll catch up.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Manny. Absolutely.
Yep, sure.